Good afternoon from my world to your world. Hope you are doing well today. Today I want to talk to you about a vision that I always had this vision, but I never was able to understand why all the investments in the world, why all the investments in the Gulf region is always going to the same things. AI, desalination, water desalination, and new nuclear power plants to help the energy, create more electricity and power in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf region, building new cities. All that is amazing and beautiful and will improve quality of life and will improve economy in the Gulf region and around the world, in all these countries that are investing in these type of investments. But first I want to show you where I am. I am on the 24th floor in this beautiful residential luxury building, and from the 24th floor we have a gym here and goes all the way up. Of course, this one here, that's the end of the golf, and this is the pool on my 24th floor, Tower B. That is Tower A. On the 23rd floor we have a covered pool, and of course I'm surrounded by 5-star resorts and luxury restaurants and cafes, and I am right here over the ocean. This is called the 0.001% lifestyle that you can live in Miami or Monaco or Manhattan, that you can live here in Southeast Asia fairly well on a decent budget without being a billionaire. Going back to our subject, I work in the raw material business. We roam the world searching for best quality nutritional raw materials to help supply many holistic doctors, and sometimes we even supply as a subcontractors research centers like Johns Hopkins, like Los Alamos Lab, like Alabama University, like Stanford University, etc., etc. And we have learned so much about nutrition because we love nutrition and we're passionate about health. From these researchers, when they give their presentations for a research they've been working on for 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years. Some of these presentations are not even available to public in the first few months. And even when it's available to public a few years later, nobody sit down and listen to the presentations, that some of them are 3 and 4 and 5 hours long, summarizing the research for 3, 4, 5 years. So we take these presentations that we watch in many of these research centers. They allow us to sit down and listen to these presentations, and we edit them into short videos, and from those videos we send all our clients those short edited videos summarized in a 3, 4, 5 minutes, so you don't have to watch the 3 and 4 and 5 hours presentations. And companies like Tesla Nutrition, lookandvibrant.com, they add those short videos into their blogs in order for everyone to kind of understand in a nutshell what the research was able to achieve after a few years, depending on what type of research was done, whether it's by Stanford University, by Dr. Bill Harris, whether it's by Dr. Bruce Ames, who was my professor, who discovered the Ames test in 1988, whether it's by maybe the Navy. Maybe you've never heard that the US Navy does their own health research with Dr. and Captain Hebelin, who's amazing, passionate about health, especially for the US public and the US military. So, where am I going with my conversation? You will see many countries are doing great things to their to improve the quality of life, from Dubai to Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, in Thailand, Singapore, etc. and they're investing in AI technology, desalination technology, in the nuclear power plants, in AI, in building in new cities like in Saudi Arabia that will cost $1 trillion, etc., etc. And they have a vision for 2030, 2040, 2050, etc., etc. We know everybody trying to get the best and the highest ROI on their investments, to create and generate a new income that is not attached to only natural resources like oil and gas, because sooner or later oil and gas will disappear from the world. What are you gonna have other than oil and gas to produce an income for your country, for your government to keep going and to keep functioning, other than oil and gas? You invest in real estate, you invest in AI, you invest in stocks, you invest, etc., etc. Here's the problem. Until this day, no one is talking about the biggest market that no one's taken advantage of. What is the biggest market in the world today? The biggest market in the world today, based on what I have learned, what I have seen, and the numbers out there and the data you can check. And by the way, this video for informational purpose only. It's my personal experience I'm talking about. The biggest market out there, it's healthcare. Healthcare budget are becoming, in some countries, a national security threat. Like in the United States, they just broke the $5 trillion mark in healthcare expenditure, because people are eating junk food, they're using so many off-counter medications. We know off-counter medications is not that safe as you thought. We've heard about the latest investigation about Tylenol, and many of these foods are addictive, with artificial sugar, artificial colors, artificial flavors, and people are not able to stop eating it. Well, can we help maybe lower healthcare costs by changing their diet a little bit? Not 100%. I'm not talking about Brian Johnson diet, who spent millions of dollars showing what he eats and how he eats, how it affects his liver, how it affects his brains, how it affects his cognitive health, how it affects his heart. And this is amazing data we can learn from, that someone else already had done. We can learn from what my professor, Dr. Bruce Ames, had discovered in 1988 in the Ames test, that there are 15 minerals and 15 vitamins. If one of them is missing, you will die. Do you know what vitamins and what minerals are they? So, if we can alter someone's diet by having good quality nutrition added to their daily diet, and eliminate few things from their diet, like artificial sugar and artificial color and artificial flavors. You cannot have those. Maybe they're available in some stores to buy, but the people who are on this protocol that we're gonna put maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people on, they will not be able to consume these particular ingredients in their foods. We don't want to alter all their diet completely. We want to just to be able to manage it and add specific nutrients according to research been done by Brian Johnson, by Harvard Medical School, Dr. David Sinclair, by my professor, Dr. Bruce Ames, by John Hopkins, by Los Alamos Lab, who had done extensive research on nutrition, but is not available for the public because it's considered a national security information. We have some insight on that. So, if the United States government healthcare expenditure just exceeded the $5 trillion, that is bigger than all the oil sold combined in the world. That's only in the United States. We're not talking about Europe. We're not talking about South America. We're not talking about Southeast Asia, where I am right now, developing countries. increasing of air pollution, increasing of cancer and heart problem and diabetes like crazy. So why wouldn't Saudi Arabia, for example, which I love Saudi Arabia, the Gulf region. I've been to Dubai, very generous people, amazing work they're doing for their people. Why wouldn't you invest, let's say $200 million to study 3,000 people from Saudi Arabia and compare it to people that you don't give them anything. 3,000 people working for the government, for example, they have to follow a little bit of certain diet, certain nutrition. We work in nutrition. We know where the best nutrition comes from, not from synthetic and not from China, because Chinese raw materials contain up to 10,000 times higher heavy metals than Prop California 65 allows. So within 3 years, you'll have a data bank will show you how much you are able to save on healthcare costs, on less people visiting the doctors, less those people getting sick, and you can monitor the biomarkers. For example, Brian Johnson has about now 50 biomarkers to monitor. We have other biomarkers, there are only 8 biomarkers to monitor. If we can keep those biomarkers in the body in check, starting with controlling blood sugar and oxidation, we can keep someone healthy and living maybe 100 or 120 years old without the need for nursing homes that cost hundreds of millions of dollars for someone to take care of their own lives in the last 5-6 years of their lives. We have research from Oxford University showing that using a specific nutrient for cognitive health with the dean of the pharmacognosy center in Oxford University, Dr. David Smith, whom we have watched the presentation, put the video online and edit the videos, and we send it to our clients to use it, showing that he says $200 billion was spent on trying to help reverse dementia and Alzheimer's, and it didn't work. And he showed by using specific nutrients and vitamins, within 2 years, he was able to reverse dementia and Alzheimer's, at some cases by 90%, with a cost of less than 1%, 0.1% of what's spent on the $200 billion spent on medicine trying to reverse dementia and Alzheimer's. So now, what we will have a vision of 230, for example, for this project, funded, let's say, by the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, or Saudi Arabia. We have a database of exact results that we can measure. Once people get on the protocol we want, how long they're gonna live, what's their health outcome, how much you save money on healthcare, how intelligent the IQ, especially for kids who were born to a mother that has a specific nutrient in their body like fish oil and vitamin C and folate, high omega-3 from wild anchovy as high as 8 or higher, showing that they have higher IQs, those women, kids, than other women who did not have those particular nutrients. Even kids, age 5 and 6, 7 years old, who were given high quality fish oil like wild salmon, were able to increase IQs. Are you hearing me? Mothers out there, their IQs by 64% in 100 days. We know also lately there's been vitamin C research done on rats who live approximately 4 years of age. So they remove the genome, I think 3 or something, that produces vitamin C. They put in them human genomes called genome 5, and they wouldn't be able to allow to produce their own vitamin C because mammals produces their own vitamin C, and they remove all the food that contains vitamin C. And what happened? These rats, they died within 2 years of their 4 years full lifespan. They lived half their life just by removing vitamin C from their bodies. The problem is 99% of vitamin C on the market is synthetic and it doesn't work. It doesn't contain what you call bisphenol hydroxyls. So natural vitamin C extracted from fruits and vegetables contains natural biological structure unique to natural vitamin C. Is called bisphenol hydroxyls. Two hydroxyls adjacent to the same side of the carbons, or the double blowers, or the double bonds, they call them in biology. This unique biological structure allows vitamin C to pick up toxins like mercury from the body and detox the body from heavy metals. Many holistic doctors use this type of protocol to cleanse the body for their patients from mercuries and heavy metals. We also have many other research that vitamin D3, which is the normal level in the United States by physician considered at 30, actually holistic doctors, they want to see it at 60, 70, and 80 because vitamin C is vital for health and it's essential as the building when you build the foundation of the building. Dr. Russell Jeffrey, who was an MD professor in the 1970s and turned into holistic experts by studying in China, says you can have any type of health protocol and diet, but no good intervention will work without vitamin D level being at optimal level. So if we can take all this experiment and put them on AI, use AI to help us design these protocols based on the clinical trial that we're working with, those 2,000-3,000 people that the government of UAE or Kuwait or Saudi Arabia or Qatar allow. Then we can bring our team to utilize all the knowledge we know about nutrition, which many, by the way, so-called experts, they say we don't have enough research on nutrition. There's a lot of research on nutrition, but it's unknown to you and Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about. Now, we will have in our hands a protocol, the Golden Goose, that we can go to the United States, Western Europe, and many other countries said, okay, we can show you how we can lower your healthcare cost by 30% in the next 5 years. We can take over the management of healthcare, just like UAE right now is known how to have a great business management system managing ports around the world. Now you'll be able to come to countries who are struggling and suffering with healthcare costs and don't know what to do with it and how to lower it. So if you can lower the US healthcare expenditure down from 5 trillion down to 3 trillion in 5 years, and you will get a 200 billion annually for your service, or 300 billion, or 400 billion, or 500 billion. I'm not talking about Europe, I'm not talking about South America, I'm not talking about the protocol that's gonna produce many different data for longevities, for athletes who wants to perform the best, for country who wants to have the highest IQ children in one generation, who wants to have the least healthcare cost and be living the healthiest, the longest, and produce very good fruits in their lives when they are not burdened on the healthcare system and their government. This is Vision 2030. I see that if the UAE and Saudi Arabia would like to utilize what we have learned and put a team together, the best research team in the world, to help them develop the next healthcare initiative, that doesn't mean you cancel Big Pharma. No one can cancel Big Pharma. They're too big to be canceled. You use the healthiest path to treat any health problems and to fix the problem starting with this. And then when there's an issue that you need emergency surgery, you have an accident, you need something that only hospitals can solve, you can use that. But when there's things that could be solved by only monitoring a little bit of your diet and taking the right nutrition daily, that cost very little compared to what would cost till you wait till you get sick. So preventive healthcare, new initiative for 2030, using AI technology. Even we can develop that AI technology to be able to have a special app to check eye health without going to the lab or to the doctor, or to do a blood test like you do for blood sugar and put it on that lens on your phone, special phone, man, with a special lens that you can activate with an app that we have on your phone to test even your blood automatically by using that little sample with the AI technology. You are talking about the biggest market in the world no one is thinking about. And I know back in the Gulf region, they're investing in a lot of different technologies right now, especially for big pharma and so-called science, that's gonna take you nowhere, all right? So we know that Dr. Seyfried, who was working with cancer patients and used a lot of different chemo, today he can show you with using specific diet like ketogenic diet. And if needed, they can use very little of chemotherapy, specific area, to kill the cancer quicker than anything, but you have to starve glutamine. That's according to a research from one of the top researchers for cancer patients and cancer drugs. Dr. William Li, who wrote the book called Eat to Beat Disease, who used to design cancer drugs for cancer companies, he decided to start testing food like garlic, like onions, like strawberries, like raspberries, blueberries, etc., against cancer. They wouldn't allow him. So he split from Big Pharma and he started doing on his own. And you can see his amazing research in angiogenesis.org, which is I'm a member of. And you will see the immense health result and benefits from using natural foods and supplements in his research, including green tea, ginger, etc. They can show you that people who were eating junk food, mother who were eating junk food every day, trying to go pick up their kids from school, and she's doing a million things, that their prospect of cancer was almost 70 to 80% close to hit cancer. And they can show you and measure the cancer level that was growing in the body went down and start to reverse itself within few weeks after taking probiotics, for example. We have all the research we need to build into an AI system with the right team, and then birth a new healthcare initiative to help lower healthcare costs in the world, starting with your own country. We can prove that, especially when you have most of the Gulf region citizens are subsidized 100% by their own government for their own healthcare cost. How much would you be able to save money on healthcare costs and free that burden and be able to spend it on something more useful for your country and your people? So we have even research from Los Alamos Lab that we cannot even discuss in this video. But I can tell you this, that today Saudi Arabia, the Gulf region, are missing the big picture. They're investing in a lot of good things, but the biggest market, the oil market, is healthcare cost, and no one is looking at that to make an absolute AI system, technology, a protocol that can be proven and works right now for any healthcare system in the world and lower healthcare cost within 5 years by 25, 30, and 40, and 50%. And you will be able, those who will be able to build this system will be able to reap the benefits as a company who will be contracted all over the world to help lower healthcare costs. Look, in India, just a few days ago, there were protests because people can't even breathe clean air. Air pollution is increasing, disease is increasing, population is increasing, wars are increasing, more toxic air is increasing. We're all drinking water from plastic bottles. everybody is sick on planet. It's not if you're gonna be in the hospital. It's not if you're gonna be in the emergency room. It's not if you're gonna have heart attack or cancer or blood sugar, because whatever we're eating and breathing is gonna take us there. It is when. Dr. Bruce Ames, my professor who passed away in 2024, who had done extensive research on nutrition, says, I thought I have changed the world, but my research is sitting on a shelf and collecting dust. They even found in one of Dr. Bruce Ames' PhD student who was working on his thesis, DNA mutation in men's sperm. And that means that DNA mutation is going to be given to that kid in the mother womb. And especially if the mother, she doesn't have a healthy diet, her egg will not even be healthy. So whatever DNA mutation you have because of deficiency in vitamin, in zinc, in magnesium, in folate, etc., it will be transferred to that baby because of the negligence of the parents or the unknown for them. It starts from the womb and start from this. So today, I hope someone is watching this video and can tell my brothers and sisters back in the Gulf region, whom I respect and I love your generosity and what you're doing to your country in the desert is amazing. But there's bigger and bigger and bigger vision than anything you have done. And nobody had done this down to a scientific protocol with data, with measurement, all works perfectly for all type of healthcare in the United States, except maybe Brian Johnson, but you will need to spend millions of dollars. He already spent his millions of dollars. We know his data. We look at research from the Navy, Los Alamos Lab, my professor, Dr. Bruce Ames, John Hopkins with Dr. Kensler, etc. We can put all this information within 5 months in an AI, and we can produce an unbelievable system to help lower healthcare costs around the world. And that will be at a cost for the Gulf region to develop that system with my help, put in the right team, or if they want to hire someone else's, if they know they can qualify to do this, that will be a cost of less than $200 million to have a healthcare protocol system with data, using AI system in your hand that can generate billions and billions of dollars in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years. So health is wealth, my friend. Tell me, most people these days, Americans, most wealthy Americans die on average of 66 years old when you're supposed to live to 120 years old. This is in the Bible. Noah's and his children, they used to live to 900 and 1,000 years old. And God shortened our lives down to 120. Most people are dying at 60 and 70 and 80 years old, and they're missing another 40, 50 years of good life because of lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6 says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So from heaven to you, I say, God bless you all, bless your life, and there is no risk without there's no rewards without risks, and there is no elevation without separation. Look at this life here. That's 5-star resorts all around me, and that's Kolarn Island, and I am right here in heaven, and this could be your life too. Adios from heaven.